please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Welcome back. It's down but not out. Let's put it that way. The market, the Nifty is under pressure. 62 points down now is what you have on the Nifty. The Bank Nifty is taking some support at lower level. What's good for the bulls today is that advanced decline still is in favor of advances, and the mid-cap index is doing well. Kotak is a bit of a problem point once again for the market. 2% down on Kotak, IndusInd, HDFC Bank, all these big names, Hindustan Unilever, Bajaj Finance. So the erstwhile market leaders obviously have a bit of a problem. Most of these stocks are making fresh lows. Ashwani Gujral, Mitesh Thakkar and Prakash Gaba with us. Good morning again. Ashwani, you reckon the risk reward is favorable for longs here? What's your call now, and what about individual stocks?
See, I'm going with the premise that there is very poor follow through, and having said that, I don't expect any of the indices possibly to break below Friday's low, so that becomes like a stop. Now what's interesting is that Yes Bank has turned around very sharply and started to move higher. PSU banks are showing some sort of upside. So if the Bank Nifty can reverse, and let's not go into reasons why, then I think the better trade is on the Bank Nifty, because that's where people went short early morning expecting a breakdown, etc. If it fails to give follow through and a couple of these private banks come back, then I think that is where the biggest opportunity is. What is up 50, 100 points like IT, etc., that may not move up that sharply, but the market, because it's choppy, what's down goes up, what's up comes down. So I'm going by that. Keep Friday's low as a stop and get long even now on Bank Nifty. My sense is maybe at some point private banks also should show traction. Having said that, SBI is a buy with a stop of 289, target of 303. RBL is a buy with a stop of 610, target of 630. And JSPL is a buy with a stop of 220, target of 235.
In fact, not just SBI, most of the PSU banks are making highs of the day. So that's a bit of a dichotomy. Ashwani, just your thoughts on this bit of a dichotomy right now. PSU banks making highs of the day, Axis. But you know, the other big ones like Kotak and HDFC Bank, IndusInd Bank are seeing selling pressure.
Well, probably that is where foreigners, etc., are selling. But how much can they sell? Day after day after day, these guys are going down. Some are almost reaching their 200-day moving averages. So things tend to get priced in very quickly. So PSU banks, despite yield, rupee, etc., are not going down because they've gone down enough. And there are people who probably think that at some point these macros, etc., get sorted out, and they tend to move higher. So that way, I don't think, at least for the day, banking is in any sort of danger. And if you have Yes Bank coming back, then you may see the other private sector banks also moving higher. This is in a sideways context, because I expect this week to be sideways. Once we resume the trend, then it will be a totally different story.
Okay, by the way, the mid-cap IT space is also surging now. Mastech is up almost about 5% Mindtree is up about 1%, and Mindtree is sitting at a new high. It's almost doubled this year now. So this space is looking pretty good for traders. Mitesh Thakkar and Prakash Gaba are also with us. Prakash, hi, good morning. The two spaces that stand out today, pharma, names like Glenmark, Cipla hitting new high, and mid-cap IT. Anything that you like here and anything at all?
Good morning, Sonia. Certainly, these two space looks to be a safer journey to take here today. So I've picked up two stocks. One is from the Pharma package, basically TCS. That looks good, seen a good base formation, can climb to around 2110 zone, stop below 2082. And I like Cipla among the Pharma pack, looks good. Target on the upside 690, may take a day or two for that. Stop below 660 should be fine.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for your trades. We still have Mitesh Thakkar with us. Good morning, Mitesh. Your trades at 10?
Yeah, Lata, so I think, pharma has been a sector which has been highlighted clearly and is showing follow-through and momentum. So I think I'll stick to that. Supply is just breaking above its rising channel, so keep a stop at 663 or 662 and look for a target of around 700. While Lupin is now finally getting past those very important medium-term levels of 950, 955, which means that the medium to longer-term trend should be considered up. And I would be a buyer here with a stop at 950. Take a positional target, which is the first target of around 1050 on the upside.
Okay, well, the mid-cap IT move is getting big now. Just pull out intraday chart on Hexaware. That's the one where, of course, you had that block deal issue, and after that, perhaps the stock putting in some kind of bottom and is now moving on. Ashwani, your thoughts on Hexaware? This was, of course, the leader of the mid-cap IT pack before we had that big block deal and that 12-13% correction. You know, if you looked at today's charts, any thoughts here?
Well, Hexaware, you know, got to its 200-day moving average. Now it's rebuilding whatever it lost from 550. So not the best IT stock. I mean, NIT Tech or Tata Elxsi, they still have much better action. But sure, you know, you can keep your stop below 400 and maybe look for a trade back to 530, 540.
Rupee 72.33 now, so clearly at the lowest point in its history, that currency vis-a-vis the dollar only. Ashwani, just to add, I mean, at what point will you take off your, you know, buy on dip strategy or wind your longs? 11,500 or 11,490?
Friday's low.
Yeah. So
because that will start to tell you, you know, that the market is extending on the downside. So that low is about 11,500 broadly on the Nifty futures. But my sense is that the market will chop you up. The moment you take a short position, you will get a rally back. And the moment you take a long position, particularly at the highs of the day, etc., you will get again chopped up. So avoid trying to go short at the extremes. If you have to do that, do it on a rally.
Fair point. Thank you very much, Ashwani. We'll come back to you, of course, on the hour and maybe on the half hour for advice. For the moment, let's shift from technical trades to our in-house research. Kolkata-based NBFC Shrey Infra has recently spoken about their intention of coming out with an IPO for Shrey Equipment Finance. The previous IPO from the group was of Bharat Road Network Limited. That was launched about a year ago. Within 10 months of this IPO, the company has been referred to NCLT by one of its lenders. Abhishek Kothari, our in-house researcher who looks at NBFCs very closely, analyzes what's gone wrong at Bharat Road Network. Abhishek.
Well, to begin with, Shrey Group had come out with an IPO of Bharat Road Network in September or October 2017. In less than a year of its listing, that is 10 months, the company has been referred to NCLT or the National Company Law Tribunal by Religare Finvest for a little due over 51 crores. Now, BRNL, however, has raised a dispute in this matter, and so the litigation is still on. Let's look at how the business was created just before the IPO. Now, BRNL acquired equity in special purpose vehicles from Shrey in FY15 and FY16. So they acquired around 15% in Orissa Steel Expressway, which became a subsidiary being valued at 79 crore. Now BRNL is a minority in a majority of the other project SPVs like Guruvayur Infrastructure Project Limited, you have Mahakaleshwar Toll, Kurukshetra Expressway, etc. So they own the operational projects just before the IPO were Guruvayur Infrastructure, Mahakaleshwar Tollways, and the operational projects under conditional, commencement of certificate was Kurukshetra, Ghaziabad, Aligarh, and Sri Jagannath Expressway. The project under construction was Solapur Tollways. Over there, they own about 99%. So, how the company created the net worth just before their IPO? BRNL's net worth was at negative 67 crore in FY16. However, they did fundraising in two tranches, one of right issue and one of placement of shares to Shrey Infra, due to which the net worth became positive of 596 crores. So practically, the company acquired a positive net worth just ahead of its IPO. As per the objects of the issue, a majority of the money was meant to repay Shrey in terms of the debt. So if you look at the 601 crore that was raised by the company, nearly 430 crore or 75% of the IPO were actually given, or 75% of the IPO were actually given to Shrey as a repayment of the debt. So the projects with majority control have been in limbo since the beginning. So the Odisha Steel Expressway is under foreclosure and is handed back to NHAI. You look at the Solapur tollways, that has been under commencement since last 7 to 8 years, wherein they have 99% stake, and it has been getting postponed every now and then, and is right now being postponed to December 2018 as per the latest update by the company. Now BRNL is planning to buy another SPV. So with almost no operating projects under control, the company intends to buy 51% in a Kerala SPV. The main concern is that where the company does not have majority control, the performance or contribution to financials have been higher from those projects wherein BRNL are a majority stakeholders. The performance has not been to that level. Another project, that is GIPL, they are looking to raise their stake from 49 to 74 and to 100%. So this will remain the only operational project under their radar. So this is not a stock recommendation, but we have only put out facts as reported by the company and making investors become aware of what is happening.
That's much needed, actually, investor awareness on stocks like this. Our research head is also here with us, Sonal Sachdev. Sonal, there are many questionable decisions that investors need to be aware of.
Yeah, we just like to look at it from the perspective of shareholders. What Abhishek put out was what was there, details from the offer document and from the financials reported by the company. So they're all facts there. The question that arises is, if I'm a shareholder of Shrey, I mean, Shrey gave money without interest to Bharat Road. Shrey invested in, sponsoring Bharat Road projects. Normally with an associate company, you wouldn't do that. You do that, you also palm off a few projects to Bharat Road Network. Now those projects are non-performing. One of them has gone back to NHAI, where, they're looking at closing it out because they couldn't acquire the land. The other project for which most of the funds were given hasn't taken off for almost a year now. They keep pushing it back. So from a Shrey shareholder perspective, what you're asking is, what have we actually got out of it? You actually don't know whether you actually gained or lost because you've moved off some projects which actually haven't taken off. You've got money repaid but didn't earn any interest on that on the period. From Bharat Road Network perspective, you're saying, okay, what is it as a shareholder that I've got? IPO raised money, almost all that money went to Shrey, besides meeting issue expenses. So what are we left with? Some projects that haven't really taken off. They have projects with Simplex and PNC Infra, etc., which are SPVs, which are doing fairly well. But the ones where Shrey is directly involved with the majority control, they haven't really shown much performance. In fact, Shrey has taken, indicated in its accounting that it's looking at these investments as long-term investments and looking at capital gains from them. And they're expensing, the interest from them, taking it directly to the balance sheet, not taking it to the P&L. So that raises questions. I mean, we remember the Shrey management was with us and they were talking about saying that Shrey Infra now doesn't have a CEO and they're not looking at growing that book. And Shrey Equipment Finance is what they're looking at. Now, looking to take that company public, what investors and people are concerned about is that you're taking the most active part of it out of Shrey Infra. A better thing would be to do is give shares of, let's say, one share of Shrey Equipment Finance to every shareholder of Shrey Infra and retain some holding here. That way you'll create value. But if you just show it, take it out as a subsidiary, it'll again perhaps
left for Shrey Infra investors.
Yeah. Exactly. And if you see Shrey Infra's chart, obviously the market is worried. I mean, it's a stock which has been making 52-week lows. And all rallies in Shrey Infra normally have been sold into. So that's also a bit of a concern. By the way, the market's broken the morning low. Abhishek and Sonal, thanks a lot for that analysis. Nifty is now down 80 points and 11,500 is what we have. The Bank Nifty down 200 points and that advanced decline has quickly turned in favor of the decline. The rupee also at a fresh low. Look like that kind of a day, Lata, when we started, that perhaps, today would be the day where the market would see sell-off at higher levels for sure.
I guess, yeah. And it's not budging from that 72.3 levels.
Exactly.
I mean, 31, 32, 33, but it's not seen an active, coming of exporters coming and selling dollars, or for that matter, the Reserve Bank.
Also,
the rupiah is also down 1/3%.
Exactly. This is
both the current account deficit countries are down.
This is a global move. Even the emerging market index is down quite a bit. And of course, the selling in the big large caps, the last few days, the Kotaks, the Bajaj Finances, the HDFC Twins, that's also, of course, impacting the sentiment. So all in all, looking a bit weak. Let's see if some buying emerges.